What's going on, everybody? I'm glad to be back and making yet another deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed my analysis video on Lord of the Rings Online and it got you interested in the game. It took a lot of effort, but you guys can really see it in the editing department because I think the edits turned out pretty well. I'm thinking that maybe once a month or once every 2 months doing a nostalgia video where I analyze an old game that I played and see if it still lives up to the standards that I have today. But besides that, let's get straight to the deck profile. Today, I'm bringing you one of my favorite decks that ever existed, and that is Plunder Patroll. Don't mind me, you can see that I'm clearly excited for the new Plunder support, which comes out in Photon Hypernova. It's the Earth ship, which is one of the ships that we're missing besides Wind. We would insta-lose as a Plunder player to Earth if we didn't have the trap, which sucked. But it does so much for the archetype. It is a Pendulum Synchro. Its Pendulum effect allows us to summon a token, a Plunder Patrol token of any type to both sides of the field, so it allows you to set up your Fire ship, it allows you to set up your Dark ship, it allows you to set up your Light ship. It just does everything. Not to mention when your opponent special summons a monster, if it has a Plunder attached to it, you can special a Plunder from your deck and you add a Plunder to your hand. The card does everything for the archetype. I can't wait for it to come out. But right now, we have to play Plunder as it normally is, which is basically Blackbeard control with the Brave engine. I'm going to get into the deck profile, I'll show you guys my ratios, tell you about them, and I hope you guys enjoy. So to start off with the Plunder package, we're going to be playing a pretty standard package of 3 Whitebeard. We're going to be playing 3 Goldenhair. We're going to be playing 3 Black Eyes. We're going to be playing 3 Bluebeard, and then 2 Redbeard. So we're running about 14 Plunder Patrols. Whitebeard's amazing in the deck. I mean, he's basically your main card that you kind of want to use. Whitebeard, if he's sent from the hand or the field to the graveyard, he can special Plunder from deck, which is insane. And he's also a Fiend Tuner, and during your opponent's turn, you're allowed to turn him into a ship, depending on what attributes they have in the graveyard or on the field. He's really good. Other than that, we're also, as I said, we're running the Goldenhair. Goldenhair at 3 is pretty good. This deck doesn't need its normal summon, which is pretty nice. Goldenhair can be used to send a Plunder Patrol from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard and special this card from your hand. And then it also does the same exact thing where if it's in your graveyard, you can discard 1 card and special summon this card, but cannot special for the rest of this turn except Plunder Patrol monsters. It's really good. It does Plunder lock you, but it's fine because usually you'll get your Brave engine off before then. We're also running, as I said, the 3 Bluebeard. Bluebeard's pretty good. He's a special if you have a Plunder Patrol in the field. And then if he's sent to the grave from the hand or from the field, which is it has to be in the monster zone when I say on the field, because if it's equipped as a equipped spell, it won't go off. He will allow you to draw 1 card and then, or discard a card first and then draw 1 card. It's good. I like running him at 3 because he's an extender and he also gets you some cycling, which is nice. The big issue that Plunder has always had is the fact that it can't cycle through its, it can cycle through its deck, but you usually have a hard time keeping a Plunder in hand. And keeping a Plunder in hand is one of the hardest things because of the fact that all your ships trigger off of discarding Plunders. We're also playing Black Eyes. Black Eyes fixes the problem immensely. This came out in Lightning Overdrive. What it does is you can target a Plunder in the grave, you add it back to your hand, and then it special summons itself. Usually you can get Black Eyes off, and if you have like a Whitebeard in the grave, you add that back, and then you usually use Black Eyes plus something else on the field to go into Blackbeard. And from there, next turn, you can discard the Whitebeard in your hand to do a ship effect that was made off of Blackbeard, and then be able to plus because it starts summoning out like a Redbeard, for example. I'm running 2 Redbeard right now. I would like to play 3. He's not good right now, to say the least. He is important because he can special summon a ship during the opponent's turn, and he's a level 4, which is nice. He's a non-Fiend Tuner, which can, he's a Fiend non-tuner, sorry, and he can be used to synchro your ships. What he does is when he's sent from the hand or the field to the monster zone to the graveyard, he attaches himself to a ship. It's not that important right now. It comes up sometimes in games when you go into a grind game, you need to get your ships to have quick effects, but it's not as good as it could be. When the new support comes out, this is definitely a 3 of, because what you want to do is you want to synchro with him and like a Whitebeard to be able to make Jord. When you do that, you can attach him to Jord, and it turns on the effect where it can special summon a Plundarrr during their turn. So if they don't have like an Earth in the graveyard, or you can't get an Earth to their side or something like that, then what you do is you basically just hard make Jord, and you can sometimes hard make the Blackbeard as well. So you don't have to waste the Blackbeard use on the Jord, and the Jord special summons like another Whitebeard or another Redbeard, and you just plus to infinity. So this is definitely 3 of when the new card comes out. I'll be making a deck profile when the new card comes out and showing you guys the adjusted ratios at that time. So that's our Plunder package for the monsters. As I said, we're running 14. We're running 3 of everything except for Redbeard, which is a 2 of. For the spells, we're running 1 emblem of the Plunder Patrol. It's pretty good. You equip it to a Plunder Patrol, gains 500 attack, also your opponent can't target it with card effects. Then what you can do is you can send the equipped card to the graveyard, special summon 1 Plunder Patrol monster from your extra deck with the same attribute as a monster on the field or in the graveyard. Then you take that monster that was sent and you equip it to that monster that you just summoned, like the ship. It's really good. I think it's an insane card. It's a 1 of though, because it's kind of searchable in the deck, and it allows you to be able to trigger your own ships if they don't, like you can summon out any ship that you want as long as you have the attributes in the graveyard. So for example, I run Solomon Great Almirage, so if I was to say, well, you have to have a legal target in the graveyard first, so like let's say this is in the graveyard, you can send the Almirage. Then what you can do is you can summon out the fire ship by using the Almirage and attaching it, because you have a fire in your graveyard when you sent it, which is pretty cool. Other than an emblem, I was originally running 2. I think 1 is good for right now. We're running 1 Plunder Patrol ships shipping. Sorry, that's a lot of alliteration. Plunder Patrol shipping. Ugh. That's a tongue twister. What this does, the first effect doesn't matter. What you're going to be using it mostly as is a discard fodder, and what you can do is, when you have it in the graveyard, you can banish it from the graveyard, then target a Plunder Patrol monster you control, equip 1 emblem of the Plunder Patrol, or 1 Plunder Patrol monster from your deck to the target. So it can put on like a Redbeard onto something, or it can put on like a Whitebeard onto something, so it turns your ships on, or it fetches the emblem to turn a monster into a ship, which is really good. I was thinking about running 2 emblems because of the fact that the shipping gets the emblem, but if you already have the emblem in the hand, then that kind of turns this off. But I think for right now, it's fine. We're also running 3 of Plunder Patrol Shipyard because of the fact that it's an insane field spell, triggers all your Plunder Patrols on discard, and it adds a Plunder Patrol card from your deck to your hand. It sucks if this gets Ghost Ogred. It still will cause your Plunder Patrols to go off since they're discarded, so if you have like Plunder Patrol Shipyard plus like Whitebeard, it is combo, because what you can do is even if this gets Ghost Ogred or negated, you're discarding your Whitebeard. Whitebeard would summon out something, and then if you have another normal, if you would summon out one of your Plunders, and if you have another normal summon, then you're fine, because you can go into Blackbeard and then pass. This is constant recurability, because also what it can do is if it's in your graveyard, target a Plunder Patrol card in your spell and trap zone, set the card, and then you do return that target to hand. So a Shipyard and Graveyard allows you to return any of your equipped Plunders to hand, which allows you to keep on plussing in the grind game, which is really good. That's all the spells that we're running for the Plunder line. For the trap line, we're running 2 booty. Most people run 1. For me, I value seeing Plunders above all else. As I said before, the issue with Plunder is the fact that you don't usually keep a Plunder in hand, so seeing more Plunders in your opening hand is always a good thing. Booty, unfortunately, is not recurable. It's searchable, which is cool, but if they out your booty at all, or if your booty self-destructs because you don't have a Plunder on field, then you don't have a second one for like a grind game. I think the second's really good for grinding, so that's why I run 2. I don't know if when the new ship comes out, I might cut Booty because of the fact that even though Booty is a monster reborn every single turn, it can turn one of their monsters into a specific type. it turns into a specific attribute. The issue is like you're just better off using Jord to spawn a token on their field of the specific type that you want, so you won't have to worry about it. If anything, it would just go down to a 1-of, or maybe you might cut it. But Monster Reborn is always a good thing in a deck, especially if it's like on a trap card that is a continuous and Monster Reborns every turn. So that goes off with our entire Plunder line. We're going to get off into the rest of the cards. We're going to go off into our Brave line. We're running 2 Water Enchantress. We're running 2 Rite of Aramesir, a Fateful Adventure, and a Legal Knight, Wandering Griffin Rider, and Draco back. Everything's pretty standard. Personally, I only own 2 Water Enchantresses, and I picked up 2 Rites as well. I think 2 and 2 is fine, because as I said, you want to keep as many Plunders as you can in the deck. And it's usually you'll see one of the 4, which is more than enough. Not to mention we're also running a Foolish Burial. So the Foolish Burial acts as like your 3rd Water Enchantress, which is pretty good because it can either dump like a Golden Hair or it can dump the Water Enchantress if you don't have the Brave package. I think a cool tech is the fact that I'm running the Illegal Knight. Illegal Knight is a dark, so what you can do is instead of going for Wandering Griffin Rider, when you do your Brave engine, you can end off with the Illegal Knight and summon the Illegal Knight. When that happens during their turn, like let's say you're playing against a Sprite player, what you can do is if they summon like a Nimble Beaver and they summon a second Nimble Beaver off of that, you can Illegal Knight bounce both Nimble Beavers to their hand. After you bounce that to hand, what you can do is you can use like a Blackbeard that you have on field to be able to make Mowork because of the fact that Illegal Knight is a dark. So because you gave them access to a dark, you're able to make Mowork, and then what you can do is either on follow-up, you can Draco back your Illegal Knight back to hand to be able to tribute their monsters or bounce their monsters again. Or if you want to stop like threats with link boards, you can use your Mowork at that point to banish your own Illegal Knight to prevent them from having monster advantage. It's a really good engine. I definitely would say you need to run the Illegal Knight. It also gives you extra targets for your Fateful. Like once you use your Illegal Knight, if that gets outed, at least you have Wandering Griffin Rider as follow-up, which is pretty cool. And it's going to be really nice when we get a wind ship because Wandering Griffin Rider is a wind and will allow us to get instant access to the wind ship off of Emblem. Because the Emblem will allow us to copy the, because we have the type of wind, and that's why I was saying I want to run 2 Emblem when the new support comes out. Because then we can have Wandering Griffin Rider hard make the wind ship off of Emblem, which is pretty nice. That's it for the Brave package. We're going to get off into like the 1-ofs. We're running 1 Foolish Burial and 1 Terraforming. Pretty standard. Foolish, as I said, acts as another Water Enchantress. It also acts as another Golden Hair, because it gets Golden Hair to the grave. Terraforming, it's simple because of the field spell. Gets you access to the field spell. I think the field spell is one of the most important cards in the deck for continuing to play with the Plunders. Especially if you can't access a Plunder in your opening hand, at least you can search like a Whitebeard or something, and then link it off for like an Almirage. Which is pretty cool. I think Whitebeard can be linked off for Almirage. Yeah, no, Whitebeard can't be linked off for Almirage, but you can link it off Almirage with Golden Hair, Bluebeard, or Black Eyes if you normal summon it, which is pretty cool. Besides this, we're going to get off into our hand trap lineup. I'm running 3 Effect Veiler. I'm running 3 Imperms. And then I'm running the Rock. The Rock is kind of bad this format, especially against the Splight matchup, because Gigantic Splight unfortunately prevents you from Nibiruing their board. However, the cool thing is what I'm trying to do is either I want to open Effect Veiler plus Nibiru or Infinite Imperm plus Nibiru, and that just kills the Splight board. If you open both of them, they lose. They can't out the Nibiru. They have nothing else to stop it except maybe with like a red or the carrot, or I forget which one is the monster negate, but if they don't have that, you just wipe their board and they lose. Nibiru is also pretty good against any rogue deck that you come up against. I know it kills Salad, it kills like Dragon Link. They can't play really through a Nibiru unless they have a crazy amount of extenders. It hurts tier. The thing is, you don't want to tribute their tier monsters because it causes them to go off because they were tributed for effect, which can allow their tiers to fusion. But if it's like an end board where they go like Winda and, well, you can't Nibiru under Winda because you summon twice. But if they go like Dragostapelia plus like a Kaleido Heart and the new one, which is Lulu something, then you can Nibiru their board, and then they really don't have any follow-up, which is cool. But that's actually my main, those are the 9 hand traps that I'm running. I could cut some other things in the deck and run more hand traps, but I think 9 is more than enough. Not to mention Nibiru is pretty insane in Plunder because it spawns a light token, which allows you to get into the light ship, which is Liss, I believe. I always forget their attributes. Yeah, it allows you to go into Liss off of your Blackbeard. But we're going to go off into the extra deck now. We're going to be running 1 Almirage. It's to get your link off of like some of the plunders. Sometimes you may not have like the right monster. Like sometimes you may not have enough monsters to do your things that you need to with the plunders. So oftentimes I'll just normal summon like I'll normal summon a monster that can be like Almiraged. Make Almirage, then maybe something like a Black Eyes that I have in hand. Add back the plunder that I used to make Almirage, and then go into Blackbeard off of Almirage and the Black Eyes or something like that. We're also running a Phoenix and a Unicorn. They're also Fiends, so what's cool is if you get like Rivalry locked, you're fine because you can just go into your Fiend lines, and then if you're trying to get back into your Brave line, you just hard make Phoenix, Phoenix discard, and then you can just pop the Rivalry and then go back into your Brave lines. Those are like the non-Plunder cards that we're running. For the links, for the Plunder links, we're just running 3 Blackbeard. Pretty standard. 3 is necessary. I know it's spiked because of the new support. I think it's like $15. I picked these up when they were like 5 or 6. But you definitely need the 3 Blackbeard because in a grind game, you're kind of constantly be using your Blackbeard. And sometimes you may not have booty to be able to Monster Reborn it constantly. So you're just going to have to keep on using your Blackbeards. And once you run out of them in the extra deck, it gets a little bit rough to play. For the XZs, we're running 3 Moworks. Very similar to Blackbeard, you're going to run through your Moworks really fast. Dark types, or Dark Attribute and Light Attribute are the 2 most common attributes in the game. You can usually make your Mowork, or you can make, for example, Liss very easily. I would prefer Mowork because of the fact that it's a monster banish. However, one important thing to notice about Mowork is it says that, one, it's a quick effect if you have a Plunder attached to it, but the other thing is you can discard 1 Plunder Patrol card, then target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, banish it. Then you can add 1 Plunder Patrol spell trap from your deck to your hand. So it's good. If they get rid of the monster, I believe that the Mowork does not resolve because it's a then effect. So you have to do part 1 to do part 2, which sucks. Because you have to banish the monster to be able to add the spell trap. So if they get rid of the monster with like, well, Snow is banned, but if they get rid of the monster some other way, you won't get your add and you start losing advantage. It's the same thing with like a Liss, where it says you can discard a Plunder Patrol card, negate the activation, and if you do destroy it, then if this card, well yeah, and if you do destroy it, then if this card is equipped with a Plunder Patrol card, you can add 1 Plunder Patrol card from your deck to your hand. I believe the then clause is what allows it to basically miss its activation. Like you can negate, but if it doesn't destroy on Liss, you can't add a Plunder Patrol card. I think it's the same thing on Mowork. I may be wrong with the fact that it says, because it doesn't say then and if you do destroy it, then it just says then you can add a Plunder Patrol spell trap from your deck to your hand. I think you have to resolve the banish, but I may be wrong with the Plunder Patrol Mowork. I need to look up my keywords in the problem-solving card text again. It gets confusing. Other than that, we're just running 3 Bran. I think 2 Liss is fine. You don't need 3. Oftentimes, Liss can just kind of recur itself, and you don't necessarily need that. But I think 3 Bran is pretty cool because it allows you to just keep going for game, and if you summon multiple Brans, it just starts pumping them up. It's also synchro. You can hard make it off of your plunders because they're fiends and tuners. Funny enough, I was hearing some things. Thank God Hulk is banned because at the Prodigy Games Regional here in South Florida, Plunder Patrol topped, and the reason it topped was because of using Hulk to summon out Buster Sword, and then Buster locking them using like he would Buster Lock his opponent by using the Blackbeard to turn the Buster Sword into a Mowerk or like a ship, and then because it's an equipped spell, it would just lock the extra. But you can't do that anymore because Hulk is banned unless there's some godforsaken way to do that. But I don't know if there is. I do not want to do that. I just want to play my Plunder as it is. One of the cool interactions also with the deck is the fact that the the Brave Engine is insane because Fateful Adventure actually protects all your Plunders from battle once. Because it says once per turn, the first time a monster you control equipped with a equipped spell would be destroyed by battle, it is not destroyed. So basically, Fateful Adventure turns your Plunders, it kind of acts like a Therion Disc Coliseum where it protects from battle, which is really good. I'd say that's the main synergy between the Plunders, and not to mention the fact of discarding for effect on the Fateful, and then you can trigger your Plunders off of that. This deck has just so much synergy with the Brave Engine. Thankfully, they didn't hit it. Even if they did, I think they would have dropped it to semi on both the right and the Water Enchantress, which is why I didn't want to make that deck profile at that time. But even if they do semi it, I'm fine because I'm only running 2 of each, and you could definitely keep on using this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will create an updated deck profile. It may just be like a short 5-6 minute video about like what cards have changed, what cards were added, when Jord comes out. I don't think much is going to change in the deck profile except maybe adding another red beard and then taking out one booty and then doing something else and maybe throwing in more hand traps. But besides that, I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.